team photo, then the returning players plus Cameron Johnson will be available for interviews. Practice starts around 3:30. TV and photographers can shoot the first 30 minutes. Everybody else can watch from up in 108 and 109.
Everybody get that?
Check your email. Andrew.
Roy, what was your reaction to the news that came out on Friday with the committee's decision?
You know, it was strange. I did not jump up and down. I did not scream. I didn't gloat. I went over to a corner in a room and just stood there by myself for a second, tried to collect my thoughts. Wasn't any big show of emotion kind of thing, because that's not the way I felt. I was happy that it was over with, and did a lot of thinking about what's happened the last, I've seen somebody say 7 years and 7 days or whatever. It made no difference. It was 4, 4.5, 5 years, but did a lot of thinking about what had gone on during that time period.
Roy, your integrity has been questioned a little bit over the years. Was there any sense of vindication?
I think that was more early, when people would ask me if I thought I was going to be able to keep my job, and show the camera in my face and a microphone under and say, do you think you have the support of administration? And I didn't, didn't necessarily like it when every time there was an article about it, I always showed my picture. I kept saying forever and ever that I was not involved, nobody in our office was involved. And so, whether it was vindication or not, that never came to mind. I just felt like, is there an official link that we're saying 4.5 years or 400 lifetimes?
Not really.
Whatever time period it was, I was just happy it was over.
Roy, I know you maintained throughout that you didn't think basketball did anything wrong. Obviously, the committee agreed with that. But what was your level of confidence that still you wouldn't get penalized?
I wouldn't say I was confident. I don't think you'd be confident and be scared to death, and that's what I felt like when I was in the infractions committee, but the infraction hearing. But I felt innocent, and but at the same time, it's not a court of law. It's what those people think, and we have some very honorable people that give a lot of their time to those scenarios and to work on those committees and be on enforcement staff. And I kept having good feelings, because I think we do have very competent people, very caring people about athletics, but I'd never been involved, so I didn't have any experience.
How much of the time that you spent communicating with prospects and their families was on this subject, and how relieved are you now that you don't have to deal with that anymore?
Well, 2 weeks ago, that's the only question I had to answer from one parent, so it was, I haven't had a prospect on campus that I've had that question since then, because it's only been four days or whatever. But it took a lot of our time, a lot of explaining, and I'm long-winded, and especially when I don't know a lot about, or don't know everything. I think I probably knew a lot, but when I don't know everything about what went on, don't know everything about the actual process. So it was still uncomfortable trying to explain it, because I didn't know enough about it, and felt very genuine about what I know we did. But I'm very thankful that I don't have to answer those questions anymore.
Coach, what was your reaction to the FBI investigation into college basketball? We haven't had a chance to talk to you since then. What are your thoughts, and does this system need to be addressed?
Well, I was shocked, and I've heard people criticize me because I was saying I'm shocked. I'm shocked when a lot of things happened. I'm not big on reading all the papers anymore. It was a sad day for college basketball. We do have some problems. I don't know that there is a model. If there was a model that worked, I think we would have already found it. I mean, guys, some of the old timers and maybe some of the young guys, girls in here may know, when was the NCAA formed? 2006. Why was it formed? 1906, excuse me. You know what's really good? I said 2006, Art Chansky nodded. That's the article. 06. Well, I said 06 too, but I put a 20 in front of it. No, 1906. And why was it formed?
Professional.
Because people were worried about things that were going on in college. I think, now, don't criticize me if I don't know, I'm telling you I don't know. I think it was college football, and I think the University of Chicago. Anybody know if it's right or wrong? Well, damn, you guys need to do more work then. But that's when the NCAA was formed, and that's what it's formed for. And we haven't had a perfect model since 1906. There's not going to be a perfect model because you can't legislate honesty, you can't legislate morality. And I think what we have to find is a better model and do a better job of following the rules. I think we've got a million rules, and some of them we waste too much time on, but cut those back and follow those closely, and hopefully everyone else will do. But we haven't found the perfect model, so anybody that says they've got an answer, they must be a lot smarter than everybody's been for over 100 years.
The scenarios that were outlined in the FBI report, how often would that maybe deter you from recruiting a certain kid or make you not want to get involved with a certain prospect?
Well, we've chosen for many years to not get involved in certain situations because it didn't look like it was our kind of situation. And I'm not saying it was going to be crooked or it was going to be this. If it just didn't look like a scenario we would be successful in. So we've done that forever.
Roy, what was the process of,
Wait a
I'm
second.
sorry.
Just a second. That's all right, I like questions. But we've done that forever, and a couple of years ago, I really felt like I said to my staff, I think the next big issue will be the involvement of shoe companies. That was a few years back, and but again, guys, I had to get somebody to sit down and explain to me because I didn't even understand completely who was paying who for what. They explained it to me, and I'm still not sure that I understand exactly what happened. But, you know, we've got some good things going on, too. I mean, I think there's good things in college basketball. It's not all bad. We have some really good things going on, but we've got some problems. No question about it.
Quickly on that, do you remember what year or what instance caused you to look at your staff and say, the next issue we'll have is the
No, I
involvement of
don't
shoe
remember that.
companies?
I talked so that much I can remember. What made me say something?
What was the process involved in Joel deciding to come back?
Lack of information for you guys. Because everybody thought, God almighty, what he turned. He told me he was going, and we started getting the paperwork together 6 or 7 days before we announced it. And then 24 hours after we announced it, he walked in the office and said, I've been thinking about this since you and I talked, and I don't want to do it. And so he said, I love it here. I've reached some of my dreams and goals here. I think I can get better. I think my evaluation that you gave me from the NBA people was better this year than it was last year. Hopefully I'll make it even better next year. But we really did. I mean, we went through the discussion and told me what he wanted to do. Theo! Theo!
Try that.
We'll see.
So,
But no, it was a very innocent thing on his part that he decided he didn't want to do it. I mean, I talked to him and he was going to go. I'd give him all the information and he wanted to be involved, and then came in, had the ugliest look on his face I've ever seen. I said, close the door. I didn't know what he was going to tell me, but he was just really bothered by the decision.
Coach, to piggyback off Andrew's question, are you confident all of your recruits are clear of any wrongdoing in this FBI report?
I'm not involved. I think if we're still recruiting them, I still think that we feel good about it, yes.
A year ago, you said that you didn't watch the game from 2016, the title game.
Still haven't.
Have you watched, how many times have you watched the 2017
Twice.
game?
Wanda and I watched it Wednesday night, I guess, when we got back, and then I watched it on the plane last week because everybody's asking so many questions about it. I wanted to remember the game a little bit better, but I did. I watched it Wednesday night, and I thought, very contrasting thoughts, what an ugly game. If I could make a shot, what a beautiful game. You know, it's a little bit of both of those.
When you got a chance to kind of reflect, maybe in May or June, whenever it is you do reflect, was this one different from the first two titles because of what that group had gone through?
Yeah, it was different for 100 different reasons. Really different. I mean, we're even talking about it as a staff. And I made a joke of this, but it's true. We, 05, we'd had some tough times, and so we wanted, and we were coming back from the airport, and the helicopters up there, and people were pulling off the road and honking the horns. And this year, you know, the same thing, the helicopters up there, and people were pulling off the road and honking the horns. In 2009, we were the ones honking the horns, saying, hey, here we are. You know, so that was the biggest difference. In 2005, it was like, oh my gosh, what a great thing. In 2009, everybody ho-hummed it a little bit. I mean, as a staff, it was the same for us. But Eric Cooch's office, he's got a picture of the court right at the end of the game in 05 and right at the end of the game in 17, and can't find one for 09 to put in his office. And I went to the house and started looking around. I got all kinds of stuff from 05 and a lot of stuff already from 17, but not much stuff from 09. But 05, it was a celebration of, okay, we're back, we're in North Carolina. 09 to the staff was a great deal of pride, because I think at that time we were the first team to be unanimous preseason #1, and we withstood all that all year long and did it on the court as well, and that was a great feeling of satisfaction. And this year, you know, I still say Theo and Joel and Justin, they were the ones, because they're the ones that committed to us junior year, and the stuff started coming out, and they hung with us the whole time. They had people telling them, you'll never play in an NCAA tournament game. And so the feeling of pride and satisfaction that those guys' faith and trust in us worked out all right, it was a big part of my feeling. And then, you know, it's just the euphoria, the feeling that you have is you're trying to do 100 million things. As soon as the game was over with, I just wanted to make sure that I didn't get caught up in the celebration until I had a chance to talk to Mark. Because in 05, I was really mad at myself because Bruce got all the way off the court before I got to shake his hand. I chased him down. He said, don't worry about that. And I said, no, I shouldn't have done that. But everybody was jumping around. And in 09, we won it this pretty convincingly. And Tom's one of my best friends in coaching and a guy to have the utmost respect for. And I shook his hand after Tyler Hansbrook broke my back with a big hug. But this year, I wanted to make sure I talked to Mark.
How surprised were you with Cameron Johnson that things got as sticky as they did trying to get his release?
Oh, you know, it's a process. You've got to go through it. And, you know, I'm trying to remember. We took Luke Axtell, Jared Hass, Rex Walters, Lester Earl. Have we had any transfers since I came here? Justin Knox was a 5th-year guy. So I haven't been involved in very many of those things, taken or losing. We've only lost 8 guys in 29 years. 4 guys in 14 years here and 4 guys in 15 years in Kansas. And so I had never gone through the process, didn't really know what to expect.
Did it affect your relationship with Coach Stallings?
No.
How do you envision him, Cameron, fitting in this year, especially with Justin's departure?
He's a young man that's done a nice job in practice. And last week, one day, he didn't miss a shot. I mean, everything he looked at went in. I said, well, that's pretty good. He'd probably help us. But we get a chance to keep practicing. Today is practice number 12. And so we'll get a chance to keep seeing what he does. But I remember him hanging about, what was it, 26? 26 on us last year. I remember those.
How is Cam different than Justin and what he brings to the team?
Well, again, 11 practices is what we've had so far, so I don't know. I mean, Justin, I saw him play 11 times in high school, and then coached him for 3 years, and he had the little teardrop, the little floater that better than anybody I've ever seen. Hate that shot, but I let him shoot it any time because I like guys that make it. All the rest of them, it looks pretty. It never goes in. But with Justin, his game got more well-rounded, and he added, and I've only had 11 practices with Cam so far, but I remember his ability to shoot the ball. He averaged double figures in the ACC. He shot 41% from three-point line, so that's the only knowledge I have of him.
You detailed before how the NCAA stuff impacted your ability to get top guys to campus. Do you spend any time thinking about how different things might have turned out? Obviously, you managed to make it work.
Yeah, we've been all right.
Like, do you think maybe the stuff you enjoyed last year might not have happened had you landed different players? Or
You know, no, I don't think about that kind of stuff. It's if I miss an 8-footer, I'm not thinking about it on the next hole. When I have another 8-footer, I'm thinking about making that sunker. But it was tough for us. I mean, this look, guys, you don't have to be a nuclear physicist. We signed close to this, 26 McDonald's All-Americans in our first 10 years. And that includes Joel and Justin Gill, because they've already committed to us. And then we signed one after that for the next 4 years. And so I think that we didn't get that done, so something affected it, made it more difficult. But it was hard, you know, defending my integrity is part of it, defending my school was part of it. Not knowing what was going to happen was a huge part of it, so it wasn't pleasant. But no, just enjoy the day and enjoy the wins. You know, Marcus's junior year, you know, he beat Louisville, I think that was his junior on the last second shot, beat State on the last second shot. I was just as happy in those games as I was when we won a game last year.
Well, I guess that's what I'm getting, like, kind of having a team where you're having multi-year guys that gel, and then you can enjoy watching them grow, rather than, say, if guys were cycling in and out, one-and-done types. If there was any advantage in retrospect to that.
You know, I've said this, and I think realistically so recently, for sure there's more than one way to do something. You know, some guys like to draw to the middle of the fairway, and the other guy hits a fade. They're still trying to get to the middle of the fairway. We're trying to win a national championship, trying to recruit some one-and-dones, not 5 of them. You know, but I'd like to, I mean, I've heard all those guys at Duke and Kentucky have, I recruited most of them. And, but there's different ways to do it, and for us, everybody would like to have experienced talent. And your second choice, it depends on who you talk to, do you rather have talent or rather have experience? Most people would say talent. But if your experience is pretty good, they can make up for some of that too, and I think that's what it was.
Roy, a year ago, we were in here, and a lot of the questions were about Marcus and Bryce, the two guys who weren't on the team anymore. Obviously, the guys that were here had you, and they had a pretty good deal of confidence in what they could do even without them. Anything similar this year, without Justin, without Isaiah, without Kennedy, without Nate, that there's still that degree of confidence that the players who are here are as capable as they were?
You know, I see Dino standing back there. No coach has ever talked about how great they're going to be, but you know, I do have confidence for us on the perimeter. I really do. You know, Joel's been there; he's done that. Theo, he's done some things that has really helped us. Kenny, when he was healthy, was really good. Luke is almost a perimeter player in some ways because of the way he shoots the ball from the outside. So I am really confident with the guys that we have on the perimeter, and not as bad as I was sitting in infractions hearing, but I'm scared to death of those big guys. You know, and I don't know which one, but somebody's got to be a player. And I mean, I'll say this, it's fun. I've told them this. The 4 big guys got 3 scholarship and 1 walk-on. You take the best characteristic out of each one of them and put them into one player. You still wouldn't have a player. But you know what? They're my players. So we got to figure out how to get that done. And they're great kids. They're fun to be with. I'm not telling you anything I haven't told them. I'm on their case all the time. But that's the scary part, Luke, is just what's going to happen up front, because I still believe the single most important factor in whether win or lose is rebounding. And we preach it all the time. Last year we led the nation in rebound margin, we led the nation in percentage of offensive rebounds. And Isaiah's not here, Tony's not here, Kennedy's not here. You know, none of those guys are coming back. And so the guys that are playing have got to do an even better job of boxing out on the defensive board and getting to the offensive boards for us to really have a good chance.
Coach, you hung a new banner on Friday night, and you've been down this road before. How difficult is it to repeat? And is it possible for you to relate that to these kids as they get ready to embark on that road?
You know, it must be awfully difficult. You know, you did it once, Florida did it once, and I think those are the only 2 teams that have done it in 30 years or whatever it was since UCLA stopped their run. Is there anybody else other than those 2? Yeah. So it is hard. You know, Duke and Florida both had a lot of those guys. Florida had 3 guys, I think, surprised everybody and came back to try to win it again. So it's really, really difficult. But what you do is try to set a standard, try to set a goal that you strive for and that you push for and you think about every day is trying to be one of the best teams. And last year, and you know, We're doing the same thing today. We did the same thing a couple weeks ago. First practice, I let them mic me, and I didn't realize I was prepping their year-end video. But I told them the first day last year that, you know, right in front of me was a team good enough to win the national championship, and we were that close, but we didn't get it done. And so let's make sure we maintain that focus, and I think they really did throughout the whole year. Now, we don't have Joel and Justin and Isaiah and Kennedy and Theo and all those guys that were such a big part of the one the year before. So some new guys might step up.
What can we expect out of the 3 freshman scholarship bigs? What have you seen from them so far?
I just described what I'm expecting. I have no idea what I'm expecting.
Individually.
We look really good walking through the freaking airport. We're big. We look good. You know, the different things, Brandon Huffman's going to break a backboard sometime, one of the most powerful dunkers I've ever had. And he's a quick jumper to get that off, but, you know, outside 3 feet, it's a little more of a question mark. Sterling is really long, hasn't passed all his running tests yet. He's convinced his scholarship is a track scholarship. So he's got a ways to go there, but he's really long and has a good feel for the game. Walker is, you know, 6'10". Wes Miller's half-brother. Wes hates him, you know, because Wes is 5'7" on a good day. Walker's 6'10". But I think that Walker is a plotter that's just going to keep getting better and better. He's not as explosive right now as I think he will be after several years with Jonas. Understands the game, sees the floor, does some good things there. Garrison's probably a little farther along than the other 3 right now. If I had to play one of those guys right now, after 11 practices, Garrison would be ahead of the other guys. And the good news is I don't have to play. If I had to play for my life, I may not play any of them. I may play really small. But that's the reason you get to practice. But I think you're exactly right. You should say all 4 of them because they really do have different things.
Roy, you mentioned about how close you were with Tom after the 09 thing. I know the coach fraternity is very close. But when coaches get in trouble, coaches always defended each other all the time. And is that hard when one of your good friends gets in trouble and you don't know exactly what happened and so forth?
Yes, it is, but you say that about any friends, whether it's coaching friend or not. You try to make sure the friendship is still there, but you don't know enough about their situation. You've been around a long time. What was Coach Guthrie's favorite saying? Do not condemn thy neighbor unless you've walked in his moccasins for 2 full moons, which that means don't criticize. One of my players at Kansas, I had to explain to him how long the moon was and what a moccasin was. So you have to understand that. But I think not just in the coaching profession,